All right, here we go. Welcome. Today we are going to go over, are you set apart or is it just being weird? By scriptures, we see there is a set apartness, and we are supposed to be called and set apart, right? We are called to be a set apart nation, a set apart people, which most people call what? Holy. But it is actually set apart. Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of Elohim and what is good and acceptable and perfect. Yes, it says perfect. A lot of people are walking around and we see YouTube videos, we see fellowships on YouTube, we see Facebook Live, we see all these things, and what happens is what? People really come off weird. People are making videos. We have Wretched, we have Zach, we have all these people making videos about Hebrew roots. Now the thing is, are we the light of the world? And a better question, are you the light of the world? Because if you're not careful what you say and what you do, we are the ambassadors of Yahweh, of the kingdom, correct? What we say, what we do, how we act, the way we walk, the way we talk has everything to do with that. The problem becomes is a lot of people just want to play church. They got kicked out of a church. They went to this church and the Baptist church, and they didn't agree with this. They didn't agree with Trinity. They didn't agree with the preacher's wife. They didn't agree with the preacher, so they get kicked out. But that doesn't make them set apart. I would submit to you there's a lot of people that got kicked out or just kicked themselves out of these so-called churches, and they're walking around arrogance saying, we got kicked out of that church because it's liars, and we got kicked out of that church because of this and for, right? It's not really because we don't have any discipline. It's not really because we can't conduct ourselves. We want to tell ourselves we got kicked out because it was their fault, right? Romans 15:13. Now the Elohim of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, that you may abound in hope through the power of the Ruach HaKodesh, right? The Ruach HaKodesh. That leads you, guides you, and directs you. No matter what you say, excuse me, no matter what happens, we have to be led by this. If we are not led by the Ruach, then we are going to find ourselves in a bad position. Now, that being said, many people think they are being led by the Ruach. They have dreams, they have this, they have that. They think that they're being led by the Ruach, when in fact, what they're really being led by is either Hasatan or their own emotions. I had a dream and I did this and I did that. Now there are dreams and visions. But if you're not really living circumspectly and perfect as it says, why would the Most High give you a dream or a vision of anything? We have to understand in scriptures, the people that got the dreams and the visions and woke up was what? Usually prophets. They was usually doing the will, the work of Yahweh, right? They wasn't Joe down the street who works on cars and he woke up one night and wanted to change the world, right? Yochanan, John the Baptist, the immerser, from the womb. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people come on the scene at 40, 50, 60, 70. They're super prophet. And they don't know what to say, so that, I'm going to step down, I'm going to do. You was never put in that position. I would submit to you that more than half, probably about 80% of these so-called teachers and preachers across the board are not teachers or preachers. They was never called to do this. And that's why they are led, and that's why they all go astray, right? Just like sheep, we have all gone astray. But when you put yourself in a teacher-preacher row, And now you're leading others. How can you lead anybody if you are blind? Which goes to the Ruach. How would the Ruach teach someone not to keep the feast days? It will not, right? Let's go on. And the circumcision, Acts 10:45, and the circumcision which believed were astonished, as many as came with Peter, because that on the Gentiles also was poured out the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh. How do we know we have this gift? How do we know this? Because what we live, what we do matches Scripture. This is all about witnessing and witnesses, right? And you don't believe me? Ask your friends. Ask someone. Hey, do you think I've changed? I started doing this. Do you think I've changed? Usually you don't have to ask. You know why? Because they want nothing to do with you. They don't want to talk with you. They don't want to hear about the Sabbath. They don't care to hear about the feast. They don't care to hear about changing the way they're going to eat. They don't care about any of these things. What they really want to do is get away from you, because now to them you're set apart, not weird, right? There's a difference. And there's a difference in when you're trying to be set apart and you are set apart, and then you turn around and change to be the world, right? We see this a lot of times. People go and they start assemblies and they start things and they figure out, well, nobody's coming here. I built this and I've done this and I've got all this together and bought all this food and nobody shows up. So now what should I do? Well, if you start acting, talking, looking like the world, what's going to happen? They're going to start attracting the world, and then they use that as well. It says to compel them. Well, we're trying to get them in. Yeshua never went to the bar with the drunks, did he? Did he ever go down to the slums and say, hey, right? What we cannot do, because if we're going to do that, then we got to go to the bars. We got to go all these places, but we know better, right? They know better. How many people in the bars tell you, I know I'm sinning. I know I need to get myself right. I know this. I know, I need to get this right. I need to do this and I need to do that. But the people in the so-called churches and so-called assemblies are doing what? I'm perfect. I'm sanctified. I'm ready for heaven. I'm ready to go. Wow. Acts 11:15. And as I began to speak, the Ruach HaKodesh fell on them as on us at the beginning. How do we know this? Because when you're speaking, just like right now, your eyes are opened. We have all kinds of imposters out there calling themselves rabbis, but the Scripture specifically says, call no man rabbi. This is wrong. The things that we see across the board are wrong. And you're going to be held accountable for this. What the thing you have to understand, you will be, and they will be. And they will be held higher accountability when they are letting people call them that, right? But would we just sit back and say, oh, well, it's okay, it's all right, that's just what? No. If the Scripture says do not do, then that's sin. To us, that is accounted as sin. What is sin? Sin is transgression of the law. Sin is knowing not to do and going ahead and doing it, right? We know this as a child. Hey, don't kick my trash can. What are you doing? That's wrong. That's disobedience. Disobedience is the same as witchcraft, right? Let's go on. Can any man forbid water, that these should not be baptized, immersed, which have received the Ruach HaKodesh as well as we? Acts 10:47. Once those eyes are open, once they can see, they see it, right? We know this when you talk to somebody and you say, hey, this is Yahweh, this is Paleo-Hebrew. Some people go, yeah, I've studied that, I know, yeah. I've had people tell me, that's Yahweh. They wasn't professing anything. They wasn't standing on the corner beating drums, but they knew it. And I've also had people say all kinds of stuff, right? Is that Japanese? What is that? But these are the witnessing tools. We don't have to walk up to people, club them with something and say, listen to me. Listen to me or else you're going to go. How does that sound? And some of us has been in that position and we don't like it. You listen to this and you listen to what I got to say. You better be baptized in the J guy name. And if you ain't baptized and you're going straight to... Wow, you just condemned me, judged me, and threw me in the barrel and thrown me to hell because of what you said. Of what you said. You didn't give me a scripture. One, you didn't tell me there was nothing loving kindly about it, right? But hey, by all means, Acts 11 and 16. No, by all means, don't do that, really. Acts 11 and 16. Then remembered I the word of Yahweh, how that he said, John indeed baptized with water, but you shall be baptized with the Ruach HaKodesh. This is one of the things that most churches, assemblies truly miss. They're just so far out of the way with this. And you see it. You know why you see it? You know how you see it? One guy's wearing a ball cap. Another guy's wearing nothing. Another guy's got hair down to his waist. The other guy ain't got no hair on his head. Another guy's got a gold tee. The women walk and talk and act just like the world. Some of the women act a little modest. Some of the women don't. Some of the women wear ripped jeans. You never know what you're going to get, right? You just don't know. And it's sad. These assemblies are sorry. For a better word, they are sorry because they're not teaching. There's no real reason to go there other than to eat. They don't want to teach because they know if they teach, what's going to happen? The people will leave. Well, guess what? They're supposed to. If you don't want to be what the first verse was said, set apart and perfect, you probably don't belong there. Now, are you going to be perfect today? Probably not. Are you going to be perfect tomorrow? Probably not. In 6 months from now, if we take a poll and find the perfect, are we going to find them? Probably not. But the thing about it is, somebody should be growing. We all should be growing. Daily, weekly. Sabbath is about not just laying around, not about going to some place and eating. You know, the enemy uses that against us as well. We sit around and we go, nobody's here. It's just us. It's just my family. It's just... But what else do we have? It's better than being by yourself. It's better than being in a prison cell. It's better than being on a stake. It's better than being nailed to a pole, right? And there's this, you know, it has to be addressed. There's people out here and they have a dream, they have a vision, and they come to tell everybody now it's a cross. Okay, Constantine, you and him would get along. We have to get away from what you thought you seen and letting everybody just, you see it. You go to Bible study and this woman heard this guy heard this, and we have a whole different gospel. And what does it say about that? Don't listen to them. Get them away from you, because people want to be heard. They just want to be heard. They want to hear, and they want to cry and act, and no matter where you go to, you get almost the same thing, do you not? You go to this church, oh, I've had such a rough life. Oh. Is everybody paying attention to me now? Okay, well, that's what I came for. I want everybody to listen to me. I want everybody to pat my back and give me a meal and do something for me and feel sorry for me. At the end of service, boy, people will surround me. What has that got to do with the Creator? What has that got to do with Sabbath? What has that got to do with learning, right? I mean, sadly, we see this in so many places, from Sunday church, Sunday school, to Sabbath assembly. And we all have problems. And we're supposed to care for one another and love one another and do things for each other. But not every service somebody's got to cry and whine and take the whole service to them. Because what you walk away with, Sister Sally, Brother George, Brother Fred, every week there's somebody that you walk away in your mind that you think you have to pray for, you have to talk about. When you sit down and eat, you're talking about, what about the Creator? Didn't we go there for the Creator? And then you flip it, and the next thing you talk about is the song. Oh, Sarah sung so good. Bobby Joe sung so good. Oh, Sister Helms. Oh, and boy, he hit that guitar. Man, that was... Before you know it, the whole service is nothing about what we supposedly went for, right? The whole service is nothing about what we're supposed to be doing. Yeah, Scotty got up there and he talked about he skinned his knee, geek, 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 geek. Oh, he hurt his little finger, ha, ha, ha. He fell off a bike. And it's all, see, we love that. We watch comedy shows. We watch movies. We love that. The enemy knows that. But I would submit to you that's a distraction. That's keeping us away from the Most High. That's keeping us away from the Creator and what He has for us. He might want us to learn and sit down and have a big buffet plate for us to eat. It's the Sabbath. Come and dine. It's the Sabbath. Come and dine. But Bobby fell off the bike. Bobby, how did you fall off the bike? And the rest of the afternoon, we don't have a prayer. We don't have anything. We want to know how Bobby fell off the bike, what color the bike was, how old he was. Oh, he. Who's doing that? Is that the Ruach? No. No way. But we fall for it. He deceives the whole world. We have to start putting on the whole armor. It sounds great. We all want to be loved. Why do most people go an hour or 2, 3, all day, wherever, to go to the assembly? I'm coming from Virginia to Missouri to be immersed by somebody I never heard of. Why? You don't even know these people, but you're going to fall under their religious beliefs. Why? Because you want to feel loved. You want to feel, was it the Ruach? Is it the Ruach? I will tell you in some cases, no. I've seen plenty of people, passion for truth. We're moving here. Hey, you better pray about that. We're already decided. What, a month or 2, 6 months before they close the doors? There's people, we're moving here. You might not ought to do that. Am I going to hammer them, tell them what's going on? No, because it might deter their whole walk. But we need to listen. Let those who have ears listen to what so say the Yahweh. When somebody tells you, you might not want to try that, if you want to grab that Amtrak and think you can hold on and you can fly down the trails with it, that's on you. There's nobody really going to stop you unless you go and make a parade of it. But if you think you can do it and somebody says, I wouldn't do that, you know that thing's probably running 60 or 80 when it comes by. I don't think I'd stick my hand out. You might come back with a nub. You know, I don't think I'd reach in the shark's mouth and try to play with him too much. Right? I don't think I want to do that kind of stuff. But by all means, whatever you're big enough to do. Sadly, in most of these assemblies, you don't even get that. Whatever you believe, you know, we don't beat nobody up here. We don't really believe in, we think people have their own way of learning, and we think people have this, and we think, what are you talking about? What did the Messiah do? What did he say? Did he say, well, you Pharisees, you guys, you're just a mixed bunch of nuts? No, he didn't. What did he say? Vipers, hypocrites. Who has warned you? How can we call assemblies? How can we say we're set apart? How can we go and say we're doing the will of the Creator, Yahweh, and just let everybody do everything? And it becomes a time, and now is the time that what? People got to wear masks, and they got to wear this, and they have no fear other than scared. They have no fear for their life or where they're going after. They're just so worried about their life. Does that make sense? Read the scriptures. Those who fear for their life shall lose it, but those who are not worried about their life shall gain it. Right? 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people for his own possession, that you may proclaim the excellencies of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. I would submit to you that many people are in darkness, and they're in darkness because nobody tells them. Nobody comes and says, look, at this assembly, we're going to have a dress code and we're going to enforce it. And if you can't deal with that, you probably don't belong here. Acts 13:52, and the disciples were filled with joy and with the Ruach HaKodesh. Now, let's back up. Let's knock a few things down since we're here, shall we? Can we go ahead and learn something? Acts 13:52, and the disciples were filled with joy and the Ruach HaKodesh, right? Well, let's hit a thing that a lot of people believe, and it's truly their downfall. I have no teacher. Then what are you doing at an assembly? What are you doing listening to YouTube videos? What are you doing with this attitude? You have no teacher. Because Yeshua said, come and follow me. At the end of this, he never said, that's all done away with. Just go home and read your Bible. Did he say that? Did he say, hey, you guys, go home? John, Peter, Paul, all y'all just go home. It's done. He did not say these things, right? He would forbid even saying these things almost if we're not careful. But he did come to them afterwards. And what did he do? He talked with them. He did not change. The problem being with a lot of Hebrew roots, a lot of assemblies, a lot of these people, Christianity at the bottom here, it all changed. It was nailed to what? It was done away with. No, where does it say that? It does not say these things, right? But if we're not careful, we come to Hebrew roots and, well, the hair code, the dress code, we want to play the same churchianity that we heard before, but we want it to fit our lifestyle. So that's all we're really doing. We're changing our lifestyle a bit, or we're making it look like we are. Instead of bacon bits, we're going to do imitation bacon bits. Instead of, going to the bar, we'll drink at home. Instead of, doing all that stuff we used to do, we'll just kind of hide in the basement and smoke it. And Elohim, which knoweth the hearts, bear them witness, giving them the Ruach HaKodesh, even as he did unto us. Acts 15:8. We have to know this is what leads us, guides us, and directs us. And I would submit to you again, a lot of these people, they think they have this, but they're really being led by their self or by a seducing spirit that says, oh, do what you want. As it is written in the law of Yahweh, every male that openeth the womb shall be called set apart to Yahweh. We are bought, whether we like it or not. Well, what's the biggest thing we hear with the youngsters anymore? What do we hear from them? It's my life, right? It's my life. But the scripture says we are bought with a price, that we are not ours, we are his. So how can we go and say, it's my life? Do you know by saying, it's my life, what you're really saying? You're really saying that you are not a part of the kingdom. It's my life, I'll do what I want to. Because the scripture teaches us we are not our own. We are bought with a price. We are bought with that blood. And if we are bought with that blood, then we are now no longer our own. We are in fact his. Right? Ephesians 2:10. For we are his workmanship, created in Yeshua the Messiah, Mashiach, for good works, which Elohim prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. We want to walk in his will, in his work, in his way. If we do not do these things, then what's going to happen? Then we're going to have problems, right? Now let's go over a few more things before we close up here. Let's go over dressing. How should we dress? Because we see across the board Mickey Mouse ears, tunics, blue jeans. I mean, you see whatever. You go to assembly, and I mean anywhere, whether it's Chicago or Sterling or California, you never know what you're going to get, right? What should I wear? Suit and tie? What should I wear? Torn up jeans? What should I wear? And if we're not careful, it doesn't matter what they're doing. Let me say it again. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. What we should be wearing is what the scripture says. Correct? Or should we just fall and be the world? One more time, 1 Peter 1:16. Since it is written, you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. So no matter what anybody says, oh, well, we're just on the learning curve here. Oh, we're just doing this here. Let's go over Deuteronomy 22:5. The man. H. Let's learn something, shall we? H1396. Gerber. You ever heard of the Gerber baby? Where do you think they got the Gerber baby from? It's amazing that nothing's new under the sun, is it? They say these things and we go, boy, that's a cute little baby. That's the Gerber baby. Everybody across the world knows the Gerber baby. The man is Gerber. G-E-B-E-R, pronounced G-H-E-H-B-E-R. Gerber. Deuteronomy, right? We said that to get to this. We have to know the foundations. We have to know the basics to know who we're talking about. When it says that the man and the woman shouldn't dress the same, we have to know what we're talking about, right? Now, what should we be wearing? Should it look like? Exodus 28:4. It is the H4701, which is the mitre, M-I-T-R-E, or turban. Now, these are one and the same, but yet they're not what you look at, right? They're not what you think. This is a mitre. The only difference between this and the priest, or the high priest, was it was golden, and it said, set apart to Yahweh. Wait a minute. I'm supposed to be set apart? And I'm supposed to wear something that says I'm Yahweh's? You see what I'm saying? Excuse me. Not a hat, not the full turban, not what, we see the others wear. But they got the turban, right? They call it a turban. What we have to be careful when we see other brothers, other people doing things, maybe they're not exactly right, but at least they ain't wearing the St. Louis Cardinals ball hat. At least they ain't wearing the Cubs. At least, right? We are so detrimental. We look over and we see, oh my gosh, that woman's wearing a hijab. Oh my gosh, this woman's doing this. Oh, I don't want no part of that. Is that the Ruach? I would submit to you it's not, because some of that is truth. A lot of that is truth. A lot of these, if we will look it up, oh, I ain't want to hear all that. If we will look this up, it's truth. Right? 1 Corinthians 11:4. Every man who prays or prophesies with his head covered dishonors his head. Get it? We just went over the mitre in Exodus. See, the scriptures cannot contradict, and the Ruach will not tell you. This is what we missed in church. This is what we missed, and what we still continue to miss in most so-called assemblies. We don't have truth. We have watered down, shove it around, give me what I want to hear, and that's what I want to do, right? but we don't actually hear the truth. The women, right? What they had to wear, the simla, perhaps appropriation of the feminine, right? A cover assuming the shape of the object beneath, a dress, especially a mantle, apparel, clothing, garment, raiment, companion. This is what we have to do. H5566. You can look all these up and you can see what the woman was to wear. When it says the women and the men are not supposed to wear the same thing. So what I'm getting at, if you would look at a man and a woman from a distance or from close, if the woman's head is covered and she has a covering, you know it's a woman. You don't even have to be close. You don't have to be standing right there. From down the road, you can look and see that's a man, that's a woman. The man has what? The mitri. There's nothing on top. It's not a ball cap. It's not a cowboy hat. It's not of that nature. It is actually what? And this again is the H8071, the simla, right? Now let's go to the Kelly. You can look these up. H3627, H3615. Something prepared, an apparatus, an implement, a utensil, dress, vessel, weapon, armor, artillery, bag, carriage, furniture, instrument, jewel, that is made one from another, that which pertaineth not, pot, psaltery, sack, stuff, tool, vessel, ware, weapon, whatsoever. So, the woman was not supposed to pick up what? The weapons. She was not supposed to go to war, right? We see all these things clearly. The set apartness, we are set apart. We are definitely set apart, and we're set apart from each other. Today we see people wearing the same clothing. You go to assembly, you see a woman in ripped up jeans and just walking around with ripped up jeans and clothes. But it specifically says not to do this. It specifically says not to have torn clothing, right? This here, if you look up set apart, I believe there's 5, 6, 7 verses you'll find. If you look up holy, which means in most cases set apart, H6944, as the holy set apart flock, as the flock of Jerusalem in her solemn feast, so shall the waste cities be filled with flocks of men, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. Ezekiel 36 and 38. So I will make my set-apart name known in the midst of my people Israel, and I will not let them pollute my holy name any more. And the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh, the set-apart one in Israel. It was foretold this is going to happen. They're going to know, just like people were knowing. If you ever notice, you turn on the TV and they got the Jewish Jesus. They got this from Israel. They are all talking about this and his name. There's a movie Risen, right? It's amazing that there's movies and there's things out, and we look at these and we have no problem with Mary, right? We look at Mary and we have no problem with the way Mary's dressed, but yet our women don't want to dress the way that Mary dressed. We have no problem with seeing Yeshua and hearing that she pulled upon his tassels, she pulled upon the seat, but yet we have people that have a problem with wearing what he wore, right? We have skinny jeans, ripped jeans, and we don't know, you could put a thing together, you wouldn't know if it's man or woman. You got a half t-shirt, some ripped up jeans. Who's it going on? And they're on the platform. They're up in front of people on camera professing to be set apart. Does that not sound a little odd to us? Does that not... I'm telling you, and we're going to be held accountable. You're going to be held accountable if you do these things. Even if you're just sitting back in the pew and you're one that's wearing that and letting your kids wear that, how are you set apart? What we have to realize, the newbie of the newbie comes in. Not you. Oh, when I came in, me. No. The newbie of the newbie guy walks in. And he was in the bar last night. And he seen that same dress code in the bar. Now he walks in here and he goes, I don't see a set apartness. Everybody keeps telling me they have this and they have that and they're set apart, but they all look kind of like what I seen last night. And other than the drunkenness, except for some of them who act that way, other than that, they kind of act like the people last night. When I talk to them, we talk about the same things. The ball game, the football, the mask, the what's going on, the baloney demic, all these things. Right? Do we come and say, hey, I see you're new here. Do you need anything? Do you need any help? Can we do something for you? But before you even get to that point, when he looks at you and he sees you're in the clown suit of the world, come on. We all know you can say what it's on the inside. It ain't just on the inside, because the outside will eventually match. It will. If it's all on the inside, you ain't got nothing, or you're not listening. My sheep hear my voice. When you hear Yahweh and you hear His word and you're set apart, you're going to be more than, I'm set apart. Really? Why do you look different? Go to Walmart, go to these stores, you see preachers in shorts, t-shirts, masks hanging off of them. How you what separates you from the guy next to you? If it has to be that drastic, what separates you from the guy next to you? Do you look at him and it's not like a mirror? Oh, your face is different, but are you not in the same attire? And the same thing for women. Oh, I'm set apart. I know the Sabbath day. You're wearing ripped up jeans. You got things showing that shouldn't. Did you just read? Did you just go over what that said? Let's go over that one more time, because I don't think a lot of people heard there. For the woman, it is what? Perhaps permutation of the feminine, 5566, through the idea of a covering assuming the shape of the object beneath. So essentially, it's covering your shape, right? It's not a piece of plastic over a 2x4. No surprise, right? If you ever wrapped presents, not saying it was right, but if you ever wrapped a present, if you didn't want nobody to know it was a baby doll, if you didn't want them to know what it exactly was, what did you do? You put it in a box. You put it in something that they couldn't tell, and they rattled it and they didn't know what it was. Not condoning it, but I'm saying. Same thing with women. Do you really want your woman for everybody to see and wrapped in plastic? Because that's what we're doing, are we not? We're going to assemblies and we're saying we're set apart. We're saying, oh, but we are different than the world. Oh, we are so much different than the world. The world is, they ain't got nothing on us. Nothing, let me tell you. They don't even know what's up. But yet our women look the exact same way that the world does. The exact same way. And we say, oh, but no, it's not that. No, it's not that at all. Well, then what should I dress like? Then what should, and here we go. What do you want to dress like? What do you want to look like? It's pretty easy, right? There you go. The covering, the head covering, the scriptures. Do you notice that there's not a skin tight thing? Right? It's not skin tight. When you show everything you got, then everybody sees everything you got, right? But when you don't, when you cover it, and when you read scriptures and it says cover your head, And you notice there's a head covering. Imagine that. And it's not just, there's a difference. Men and women are set apart. There's the Mitri, and then there's not the Mitri. Again, we should be able to see from the back pew to the front and know who's sitting there. If we see hair, it's a man. If we don't see hair, it must be a woman. See how easy that is? Isn't that amazing? We can read this, we can get over it, we can understand what it is, or we can go and look like the world. We can say, oh, you know what? We're going to dress any way we want to. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to bring the world in. We're going to come up here and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we're going to have the men dress as women and the women dress like men. And as long as it compels them, right? We can have this concert and compel people to come in. Can we not? If we don't have it, I mean, they won't come in. Does not look like the world, sound like the world. That's what the world's doing. How do these people get people to concerts? How do they get them into concerts? Because they dress any old way they want in this skin tight. Hello, can you see everything that's on me? Can you tell what's on me? And then what happens? Oh, well, but that's different. It's an assembly. If you're not careful, what did you just say? And especially when you start putting his name on it. You're not very careful. You're making his name what? You don't put his name and attach it to abominations and harlotry and following other gods and doing the way that they do. He says, do not do as the heathen do, right? So we don't want to do what they do. We don't want to look like they look. What should our women look like? Wholesome, modest, beautiful, right? How many people, they see women dressed like this and they want to open the door for them. They know, hey, because they probably get what? Maybe they do get a little thing of Mary. Maybe they do get a, hey, that's modest. Hey, she's not out doing what everyone else does. Imagine that. Let's not do what they do. Let's do what we're supposed to do. Being set apart is not, but it really is more like this, right? It's more like doing what you're supposed to do. Now, imagine this. We have an Orthodox Jewish dress code. Oh my gosh, now you're trying to be Jewish. If you're grafted in and you're supposed to be grafted in, who are you supposed to be like? The pagans or Judah? The Israelites, the Hebrews. Now, if you notice here that not all things are perfect, but for general purposes, we see that the women are dressed, right? Now, in both cases, almost all cases, what we see here is women have head coverings, they have clothes on, and they have pretty much sleeved and clothed, right? Now, this is even a swimsuit. Imagine that. Could you imagine a swimsuit looking like this? Probably not, right? So what we have to do is understand what's going on and what has been changed and how far we have come and what we have come to, right? We do not, just like people say, you do not have to get drunk, right, to have fun. Well, we don't have to get this way and have all kinds of our clothes off to have fun, right? Now what about the man? Exodus 13 and 12. That thou shalt set apart unto Yahweh all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh of the beast which thou hast, the male shall be Yahweh's. Right? Whether we like it or not, we are Yahweh's. Now, what does he say? How does he tell us to dress? How did the priest dress? Not saying we have to dress as the priest, so to say, but probably give us a pretty good indication of what we are supposed to dress in, right? Exodus 28 and 4, and these are the garments which thou shalt make, a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a bordered coat, a mitre, and a girdle, and that they shall make set apart garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. Now this is supposed to be King Yahu. He is supposed to be bowing down at a feast day, a Moedim, an appointed day. Now you can see, as we know, the long hair. You can see the beards. You can see them bringing things, right? You can see pagan things have creeped in already, which we know. But we also see the hair, the beard, and again we see predominantly they have clothes on to their ankles. Where would we get such a concept? Where would we get such a thing that we are to wear clothing? Probably where Adam and Eve tried to hide themselves and wear clothing. They didn't know what they was doing, just like we don't know what we're doing. But we have the scriptures to tell us. We have Google. We have to look up these things and say, hey, in Strong's Lexicon it says, hey, he says that men are supposed to wear these, right? And you notice there, for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. Exodus 28:4. One more time, we'll go over it and go through it one more time before we close up. And these are the garments which they shall make, a breastplate and an ephod, and a robe and a bordered coat, a mitre and a girdle, that they shall make set apart garments for Aaron and thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. Again, we know what it was carved into the wall. We know what they wore. Was they perfect? Most of them wasn't. Most of them, and we see all through history, they broke apart. They started following other gods. They started following other things. They started worshiping other things, the golden calf, sun gods, all these things, right? But predominantly we know where we're supposed to go to look for these things. The scriptures, right? We look at the scriptures and we find out this is what we're supposed to wear. Not this, right? So when we go looking like this, just like it says, the woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. Deuteronomy 22:5. And if you look this up, it's not supposed to be the same, right? We're supposed to be set apart. We're supposed to be different. We're supposed to look different. We're supposed to talk different, and I would submit to you, by sight. We are supposed to look different by sight. If we do not look different, if we don't have our head covered as women, if we don't have the mitre as men, then who and what are we? Who are we a part of? What do we look like? How can we say, oh, well, yeah, I'm a part of this. Oh, I'm a part of that. Oh, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it don't make no sense. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm set apart. Okay, well, show me. Where? Well, I'm set apart because I go to this building. How does that make you set apart? Well, because I go to the building. What's in the building that makes you... Well, pretty much nothing. Food, lights, and, you know, toilets. Well, I don't understand what you're saying. What's the difference between going to the bar or going there? Well, there they don't really have alcohol that we know of. Some may hide it. We don't... You see what I'm saying? For feast days, you know this if you've been to them. We have to be set apart, folks. That's all there is to it, and it has to be from the heart outside. It may not start. You can come the way you are, so to speak, man or woman. But once you learn the ways of Yahweh, everything about you, do not cut your beard. Do not mar the corners. Do not mar the corners. Do not cut the sides of your head. But the world acts, talks, and does exactly the opposite of what Yahweh tells us to do. So how can we set apart when we look exactly as the world looks? I hope this has edified you. I hope it helps you out. I hope again that we can see the difference between the modern world and the Hebrew world. What the Hebrew world looks like, what the women are supposed to look like, what the men are supposed to look like, and what we're really supposed to do. We can play, oh boy, it's church night, let's get it going, let's raise the roof, woot woot, yay yay, right? Yay yay, here we go. Or we can act and do what we're supposed to, and when we do, the world's gonna hate us. If you don't believe me, try it. You want to be set apart? You really want to be different? See what's sad? The whole world wants to be set apart. They want to be different. And all they have to do is put this clothing on. And everybody upon everybody will say, my gosh, man, what are you wearing? What is that? What is those things hanging out there? Some of them sadly will tell you. Some of the church people will tell you. I've seen them before. Them are tassels. And then that just makes you more aggravated, does it not? I hope this has edified you. I hope it's helped you out. If you have any questions, comments, then by all means, and there's no way, there's 150 pages of holy set apart. 150 right here. And that's not digging into each word and finding out what the clothing is, the mitri is, and all those things. That's even extra. But there's no way you can say, well, I just didn't know because, I didn't get it because, look, it says right here. In closing, let's do one more verse. Luke 9:26. For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall be the Son of Man be ashamed of them, when he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and in of the set apart. One more time. For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words, of him shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and in the set apart one. We have to know, and there's more to it. You can go ahead and read the rest of that there. Luke 9:26. But essentially, by us not wearing what he tells us to wear, to me it says you're ashamed. Right? It's no different than, hey, go put this on and wear your clothes and go to school, and you get and run to the bathroom at school and you take half of it off. You know if you get caught, you're going to be in trouble. You know there's going to be a price to pay. You know somebody's going to be upset and they see that. They're going to even wonder where you got some of them clothes. Hey, you got them on, what you're doing. Is it no different than saying, I'm set apart, I have the Ruach, but it leads me and guides me and directs me to what? To what? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't, right? It leads you and guides you and directs you to look like a modest woman, a modest man. Yes, a modest man, not the, hey, look at me, man, but the modest man and the modest woman, right? So until next time, may Yahweh bless you. May his kindness shine upon you. May he grant you shalom. Shalom, everybody, and thank you very much for listening or watching. Again, any questions, any comments, let us know. If you want to know more about this, by all means, let us know. Yahweh bless you. Shalom.